The number one mistake that I think entrepreneurs make that is killing their dreams. I mean, as an entrepreneur, have you ever felt like this? When in reality, you felt like this. That happens a lot more often than you think. And as an entrepreneur myself, what I've noticed is that we entrepreneurs seem to have this fantasy, almost romanticized, over-romanticized fantasy about self-discipline and just working every single day extremely hard, never giving up. And a lot of that comes from actually misinterpreting self-discipline, because you have people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who talk a lot about discipline, just having the guts and the willpower to just do what needs to be done at a certain time, setting targets, holding yourself accountable. And all of these things are great, but there's a huge problem with that. The first problem with relying on discipline as your number one thing is that a lot of people forget that we are still human beings. We're still emotional. We still feel things in our heart that could cause us to be unstable, to break whatever routine that we have. And we also have things that can affect us from within. Maybe we're just suddenly unable to summon whatever strength that we seem to rely on every single day. Or maybe something from outside of life, or your own life, that is completely out of your control, and it just comes smacking right into your life. And it's just, it could be anything. It could be an accident, death of someone close to you, or it could be that someone's just not doing their job and it just really pisses you off, and that just stalls all the progress. Or actually, one time I remember when I actually started this YouTube video, I had to not the YouTube video, but the YouTube channel for a few weeks, simply because I was actually eating a boiled egg. And one thing, or actually one huge mistake that I did, was that it was a little bit cold, so I just stuck it in the microwave and just set it to about a couple of seconds anyway. I learned after the first few attempts not to set it too much because it just exploded. So I managed to get it warm, and when I bit into the egg, that's a huge problem because it just exploded in my mouth, and all the hot air just came out and burnt my lips completely, and it looked horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I was unable to do any YouTube videos for about 2 weeks, simply because of all, my lips were absolutely disgusting. And that really put a dent, because I had gotten myself really worked up and I was doing videos. I was starting to do videos every single day. And after stopping myself for like 2 weeks, it just got so much difficult, or so much more difficult to get back into the flow of things. So something like that can happen. And also, if you are going to heat up a boiled egg, make sure you cut it in half before you eat it, because all of that hot air is just going to get compressed even more. It's going to explode and burn your lips. So don't do that. So yeah, anything can happen, from boiled eggs just blowing up in your mouth or lips. And yeah, so it's just, you can get emotional. Things happen. And you're not always able to rely on self-discipline because you're not a robot. Okay? As much as you want to believe that you're going to be doing this, and this at these times every single day for the rest of your life, it's not going to happen. The second reason why relying on your self-discipline as your number one go-to thing is that it's not the most powerful thing out there. The most powerful thing out there is your environment, okay? Now, you've probably heard of Jim Rohn's quote, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And most people have heard of this advice in one form or another, okay? But what they probably missed out or don't know is that this applies to the places that you spend the most time with, both at home and at work. Like, if you just think back, okay, and just try to remember, is your work environment not luxurious or where you want to be, okay? And also your home, if it's not where you want to be, then go to the place of where you want to be and spend some time there. Try once a week, okay? Or even almost every day if you can. If you want a certain house, then just walk over to that neighborhood, travel to that neighborhood and just spend some time there so that you have this abundant mindset, that you can feel what it feels like to actually finally get that thing that you want. Okay, for example, if it's a car, then just go to that showroom and ask, not exactly for a test drive, but if you can sit in it or just be in close proximity to it. Another way that you can look at this is that you need to have a look at the objects that you spend the most time using. It could be something as simple as a pen, where you just write down your goals or even your plans, whatever pen that you use, okay? Because you can't expect to get to this dream where you have a lot of money using a poor man's tools. You can't get to this rich dream using a poor man's tools, okay? For example, I used to use a really cheap biro pen, and I used to have a flimsy piece of paper, and I used to write my goals. And it was really difficult to begin with. And sometimes I wouldn't write it. Like, I actually managed to do it consecutively every single week, just write my goals on a daily basis. And then life came along and just fucked everything up, and it got really difficult to get back into it. But even when I did, about 4, 5, 6, 7 months later, I wasn't able to do it anymore. And there was kind of disparity between what I was using and what I wanted to achieve. That's because I was trying to get to that rich dream using a poor man's tools. So what I did to change that, okay, not like this, actually, to get up there, is that I no longer started using these cheap biro pens, and I no longer using these flimsy pieces of paper. What I got instead was, there it is I spent quite a bit of money getting this nice, luxurious pen. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's a black personalized pen with these little gold trimmings that I like. And instead of using flimsy pieces of paper, I actually got this handmade leather journal from Italy where it has my name embossed in gold, and both of these together cost me about $120. I mean, it's something that most people can afford. And when I write in here in these really nice cream lined pages, is that it feels completely different, okay? I don't have to rely on discipline as much when I'm writing my goals using my nice pen in my nice journal, because it's kind of a treat for me, and I feel much more excited, much more inclined to write down my goals. It feels like it's pulling me towards it instead of just pushing myself to do it. Okay, so stop relying on your self-discipline. Focus on building a better environment, because that is what really influences you, from the people that you spend the most time with to the environment that you spend the most time in. And if you spend most of your time in a poor environment, then try to set aside some time. Go to that neighborhood and just walk around it if you're thinking of buying a house there. Or even if it's really far away or another city, then just make the effort, invest in the money just to fly over there, okay? And just spend a day there, okay? Just spend a day in a nice hotel, whatever it is. Eat at a nice restaurant, or even order some drinks if that's all you can do. Whatever it does. Spend more time surrounding yourself by what you want to achieve. Don't just wait until you've finally got the success to do it, okay? The third thing is that entrepreneurs try to do too many things at once. And no wonder my mentor says that a lot of entrepreneurs seem to have this personality disorder, and they have so many different hats and faces that they try to wear. Like, they try to be the social media manager, they try to be the video editor, the sales builder, the salesperson, the finance person and the CEO of their own company, and they try to do too many things at once, and it just becomes extremely overwhelming when it's this mountain of things that they need to do and they just don't know where to start. It just becomes really confusing, just overwhelms them completely, and then just give up. And I don't care how strong your discipline is, you can't do everything by yourself. And it doesn't matter if you have a lot of money, you just need to start outsourcing what you do that you struggle with, or maybe you don't enjoy it, or maybe you're not as good at it as you want to be. I mean, when Elon Musk started with Tesla and SpaceX, he didn't try to do everything at once. He actually sat down with different people who were experts and he got their advice. And he didn't try to do everything himself. Same with Steve Jobs. He knew that he wasn't good at building laptops. He got his partner Steve Wozniak to do that. He was more in charge of the designing, but as time progressed, he outsourced more things so he could focus on the very few things that he was really good at and hold himself accountable for. And what you need to learn from this is that the less you can hold yourself accountable for, the more you can do and the higher your discipline becomes and the more you can achieve. So that's what you need to do. So, and if we're going to recap, then the first thing you need to remember is that you're still a human being. Shit can get flung at you and life just happens, okay? Whether it's an exploding egg in your mouth or whatever else happens. The second thing is that your environment is the strongest thing that can affect you, or one of the strongest, and far more important than your self-discipline, from the people you spend your time with, the objects that you use, and the time where you, or not the time, but there's places that you spend most often, okay? The third thing is that trying to do too many things at once, okay? Have also accountability partners. And I'm not talking about free accountability partners. I'm saying hire a mentor, pay them the money, okay? Because the more you pay for something, the more you care. And that's it for this video. If you like what you saw, then like, subscribe, and comment down below and let me know what you think. If you have any questions about this video or future videos that you want to see, then just comment and let me know down below, and I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.